Hello Fantasy Faithfuls, and welcome to the first episode ever of Making the Leap. Today I'm looking at why Mecole Hardman is making a leap in 2020, so let's dig in.
Can you imagine a big tackle trying to stop him?
Here's Hardman taking a little flip, and Hardman breaking tackles all the way to the end zone. Touchdown, Kansas City.
To understand Mecole Hardman and why he's going to make the leap in 2020, I created a proxy wide receiver. He's a mix of the 6 best fantasy receivers from 2019, and his target breakdown shows, as I suspected, more targets to the short left than the right, and more deep right targets than the left. This is what correlates the most with fantasy production. For Hardman, we see that he's almost at this level. He's got the short left as his most targeted zone, but a little less over the middle, and more deep left targets than the optimal receiver, but still plenty of targets deep right. The proxy receiver has above 70% catch rate in all short zones, but not above 80% anywhere. So this is not the most important stat for fantasy, except he should be above 60% in the short zones and around 50 in the deep zones. Hardman is great at catching in the short left, while he's just on the mark in the other 2 zones. While he needs to raise his catch rate outside the numbers on deep shots, deep over the middle is great and all, but not what we're looking for. Lastly, yards per catch should be high short left, of course, high short middle, and outside the numbers deep. These are key zones to have high production in. Hardman fits the bill on all these criteria. He's even higher short left and middle than the proxy receiver. He's definitely got the receiving trends of a great wide receiver in the making, but how about his usability?
Just to feel comfortable, but with this team, they're explosive.
Hey, going deep again. There's Hardman, and the rookie has his first NFL touchdown.
In 2019, Hardman should have been started 5 times. The peaks haven't been that high for him, but he did reach a top 10 spot in week 3. We can see that he struggled to stay relevant in the weeks he wasn't usable by looking at his usability chart. He either was around a wide receiver 2 or not even close to being a wide receiver 3. For context though, let's look at Tyreek Hill from 2018. He had higher peaks, but somewhat the same trends. It would either boom or bust for him. So with the steps forward, Hardman can get closer to Hill's trend line, especially if we take a look at his floor and ceiling in comparison to some other brand name receivers. Hardman finishes the season with a floor of 0.3 points and a ceiling of 11.8. In a vacuum, this sounds pretty bad, but if we look at Odell Beckham at 2.4 floor and 12.6 ceiling, it gives some more context. And even closer was Juju Smith-Schuster at a floor of 1.1 points and a ceiling of 11.7, lower than Hardman. Lastly, a look at Kenny Galladay's number from 2018. He played great in 19, but had a floor of 0.8 last year and a ceiling of 11.3, extremely similar numbers to Hardman. So in this regard, he's in great company for taking the step in his production next year.
Court remains in there. Mahomes looking to throw it. He will. Delivers downfield. Catch made. Mecole Hardman. Goodbye. A blur.
Looking deeper into Mecole Hardman's production, we have his touchdown rate, which is absurd. He scored a touchdown on 14.6% of his targets in 2019. This is insane and not sustainable, but even half that rate would be an upper half receiver. In the red zone though, he struggled mightily with only 6 targets and no touchdowns. He hasn't caught a single pass inside the 10-yard line and only got 9.5% of the Chiefs' red zone targets. But don't fear people, plenty of good receivers struggle in the red zone their first year. Cortland Sutton had a catch rate of 25% in the red zone last year, DeAndre Hopkins had 27% in his first year, and Amari Cooper actually caught 0 passes inside the 10 his second year in the league. So this is not a death sentence for him, even if it is a concern.
Coming after him again. He got hit again. He's got an open man, and it's caught at the 15 and taking it to the house is Mecole Hardman, the rookie.
Lastly, we have to figure out how many targets he will see in 2020. First, the Chiefs' pass catchers will have roughly 600 targets to share between them for the next year. But with all the competition on the team, Hardman will only see a small percentage of this. Hill, Kelsey, and Sammy Watkins are all ahead of him in the pecking order right now. And speaking of Watkins, that takes us to the next point, money and cap space. Watkins will count $21 million towards the cap in 2020, which is insane for what he brings to the table. However, if they cut him pre-June 1st, they can save $14 million even if they have to take $7 million in dead money. Cutting him frees up money to pay Patrick Mahomes, the guy that makes the offense ticks, instead of allocating money to a wide receiver 2. And for Hardman, this will make 90 targets up for grabs. If we give Hardman 30 of those and account for his personal progression and Tyreek Hill playing 16 games, he'll land somewhere around 81 targets, enough for him to break into the top 40 and make the leap. Hello Fantasy Faithful, I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to check out more of them right here and here. In case you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a beat.